And now, from Glasgow.
Okay, hello guys, welcome to stages 120 to 121. Now 120 and 121 is essentially the same as the previous two issues, so I'm going to kind of do them together, and then that way we can just get on with the next issue, which is I can then give a lot more focus to. So in each of these stages we are getting a longer bar with this little channel there. We're getting a smaller bar, and then you'll see that the next issue we get the same, being careful not to muddle them up. And then we've got one connector bar with this issue, but with issue 121 we get two connector bars. So between the two packs we have got DD12 screws twice, yes, and DD15 twice. So what we are going to do is we are going to connect the connectors using let me double check, DD12 screws. So we'll pop our DD12 screws onto the table, getting them ready. So connector bar, place onto there. Obviously would have helped if I had my screwdriver ready, wouldn't it? I think I'm going to go back to this little tiny screwdriver. This is one of my Partwork screwdrivers, and I keep going back to this screwdriver. It just works so well. So screw that in like so. And then the next DD12 screw. So apologies for sort of skipping issues, but I think it's probably going to be easier this way. Right, there we go. And then once that's in place, we take our shorter length and making sure that the groove is the correct same way on both of them. I've done that on the wrong side, guys. I'm so sorry. I have done that on the wrong side, because we were supposed to put the connector on the small one. So please forgive me guys, it won't matter in the long run. Right, so smaller piece, rail upwards, connector in place. Doesn't matter which way round the connector goes, because it will fit either way. Or will it? Of course it will. Right, so first screw into the connector. Can't believe I made such a simple mistake there. Right, there we go. Then we can take our larger piece and we can connect that up like so. So first screw in, it's always the first one that's the hardest one, but once that's, you see that's now holding that in. Probably don't need two screws on each side on this one, but you know how the Partworks work. We'll give you an extra screw just to make it a little bit more solid, and there we go. So that is that stage done. Now this is going to go on the front like that. Nothing we haven't seen before, guys, but I'm just going to hold it there for a moment, and I'm going to go forwards onto the second bar. So rail side up, connector. And the reason I'm doing it this way as well is I'm using all of one screw, and then once I finish this, we've only got one screw left, and then we can't get into a muddle, because these screws do look fairly similar in at least that they're silver. But as I say, 2 more screws, no, a few more than 2 more screws, and they'll be finished with. Right, so I got that wrong, didn't I? Right, so there we go. So I've tried to put those, but they're not, the rails aren't the same, so I need to just turn that over so you can see that rail is there. So 2 more screws, and first one in, and then that will hold those pieces together. Now once we've made these, don't get them muddled, because there is a difference between the 2 bars. This particular one is going to have an extra connector on it. Okay, so at this exact moment both of these look exactly the same, except they don't. They actually don't. Right, but we're going to make it even more different. We're going to get our connectors, and actually this is using spare screws from the one pack. So right, there we go. I wonder actually it would be worth us connecting the 2 bars together before we place it on the trailer, and then we'd only have one big bar to deal with. I'm not going to, but it's certainly worth a thought, isn't it? Right, so with our rail up and our connector sticking out, they will eventually go together like that, but we'll actually be placing them on first. So this one I'm just going to prop to one side. I'm actually going to put it down near the bottom of the trailer. So I'll get our pack of DD12 screws ready, but I'm more interested in our DP15s now. Actually, I'm interested in both. So let's get some. In fact, I'm going to put the DP15s on the right hand side, for the pure reason that I'm going to put them in numerical order. So we've got DP15, 15s, and we've got 12s on the left. Right, so what we need to do now is get our first bar, and we've got to kind of line this up with the edge of the trailer there, and we need to get our joust into place. And these don't want to go in naturally, they need to be persuaded. And just like before, there we go, they're in. They are in. In fact, I'm not even going to screw those in. So DD12 screws onto the end there, and I fear that the next step I won't be able to show you on camera, which is a real shame, but there we go. Right, so the end of the bar is connected with DD12, well, the 12 screws, and these can go in quite tight because they're going into metal. And then using my DP15s, I'm going to screw every other joust in. And actually I am going to kind of combine this between the two. So there's a DP15, and as per usual I'm only putting it in just a little bit, just enough to bite. Now I'm finding that not a single one of these is going in really tight, but they are holding the joust on properly. It seems to be that we have lots of small screws with just a little bit of force, rather than a few screws with a lot of force. So I think these are all going to hold on nicely. Okay, and actually, having said that, these screws are actually going in nicely. So having done every other one, I'm now going back and filling in the ones that I've missed, and these are now going in. As soon as I tell you that these screws aren't going in nice and tight, they actually do go in nice and tight. So I find that interesting, but don't over tighten them, because like I said, they are going into plastic. If you over tighten them, you will strip those threads. Okay. And that's the last of the first bar with the joists. So what we need to do now is, let me just find the magazine for 121. It's the screw numbers that I can't memorize, not the actual build. Right, so we are going to move down the trailer a little bit. So I'm going to have to move this trailer to get it in so that you can see what I'm doing. And I think that might be sufficient. Yes, that's perfect. Right, so just like before, we have this connector there. That's going to slip in there maybe about 30 degrees, and then we'll just manipulate this so we can get these joists in place. And one by one, manipulate these joists, and the hard bit is probably going to be the trailer back door. And there we can see we've got a couple of joists that have jumped out there, and we just feel the one that really doesn't want to live in there. There we go. See, as soon as I put this bit in, these joists jump out, and then you have to keep working your way up and down until you find that joist. Might be worth taping this, guys, perhaps with masking tape, just to sort of stop it from. Now the problem again is where it meets the trailer door. So now as soon as I get that lined up with the trailer door, this joist is going to jump out. So it's, I think that's in, guys. I think we have it. Yeah, you see that joist has just jumped out. Come on, come on. Now that isn't the problem anymore. There we go, there we go. Right, so that is in. So I actually want to lock this end in first with DD12 screws. I'm only going to lock it in with one screw because I need to stop that from jumping out. So just like we did in the previous video, we're popping that in with a DD12 screw, and then we'll do one on the connectors there. Sorry guys, you might not be able to see me. There we go. So the connectors there, we need to just screw that connector in, and we get that one in nice and tight. Beautiful. Okay, so we make sure all of our joists are in their relative holes, which they are. So now I'll get this fully locked into place using the DD12 screws. DD or DP? DD. DD is a metal screw, DP is a plastic screw. Right, there we go. That's that one locked in place. And I can see that I probably lost a screw, because between the two issues I've only got one screw left, whereas I would expect to have two spares. But that's why we have spares. Or maybe they didn't give us enough. Right, so that is all our work done with the D12 screws. So all we've got left now is to lock these joists into place, and I'm going to be doing this the same way I've done all the others, but I don't need to just do it enough to bite. I can actually go in fully. So I'm going to screw one in until that changes resistance, which that isn't doing. Then I'm going to skip one, and that one's nice, that's gone in really nice. Then we'll skip another one. Now normally I've been putting these in just enough to bite, but because they are actually in place, I think we can get away with going fully in. So we'll skip another one, and then we'll go on to this one. Lovely. And now I'll work my way back, popping the screws into all of the holes that I've missed out on the first pass. So there we go. Now this will now obviously strengthen the outside of the jousts, which obviously will mean that should eliminate accidental knocking. However, don't take any chances. What I've been finding I can get away with since I put the jousts on was, just finish, I was trying to time that so that I said that as this finishes. There we go. Right, so I have so far been picking this up using the middle of the joust because it's in between two screw holes. Now theoretically we could pick it up by this outer joist, but I would say carry on picking it like that. If you can get away with popping your hands underneath, then that's even better. But yeah guys, that is that part done. So we have got one more small job to do before we finish this video, and that is on to issue 122, and we have one part and a few screws, and this is beautiful. Look at that guys. So part 122, this is the front trailer panel, and this is the outer front panel for trailer, and then we have 4 PB screws, and this is as easy as you like guys. So I think what I'm going to have to do is just manipulate things, and I'm going to see you on the what I'm calling the airbrush camera. Okay, so what we have here, you shouldn't fail to notice I've got 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. This trailer plate has 4 screw holes on it, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be lining this panel up. Easier said than done. There we go. What actually helps if we've got some locating lugs, 3 on each side of this. 1, 2, 3, and 2 at the top, and we line that up. That will just pop into place like so, and then where those holes are, where I showed you earlier, I'm sorry I can't show you this guys because it involves way too much turning around, we will be popping in 4 DP5 screws, 1 into each of those holes. So this is going into plastic, so we can just tighten them until we feel a bit of resistance. And that's the second one in. I'm sorry I can't actually show you me, but you all know what it looks like, screwdriver turning with a screw on the end. And this has got a lot easier once we pop that first screw in. Beautiful. Really, really happy with this. So we have now got the business end of the trailer done. I'm calling it the business end because it's can you see my reflection from the rival company's box? Right, so let's pull this back. So this is what the trailer is going to look like from the front, and that's nice and thick and solid. This is what it's going to look like on one side, and excuse the doors, but this is going to what it's going to look like from behind. So this is getting big and quite deadly now. So that is the end of that issue. It's the end of the video, and it's the end of the pack. So I can only tell you what's coming in one issue, which is the issue 123, which is the left curtain side tarpaulin. Now I'm going to show you this because this looks quite exciting. So this looks quite flexible, but it doesn't look very thick unless they've sort of changed it. Now I can see there we've got some tie downs. They're quite interesting. We've got some hooks there, and we've got some bars there. I don't know what those bars are for. Tarpaulin straps with buckles, end bars and hooks. So I'm really looking forward to that. So guys, that is it from me. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next issue. Ta-ra.